I'm so glad I got it and I didn't let my fear of difficult plants get to me. 2024 has been my best year so far for houseplants. I stepped outside of my comfort zone and discovered new genuses that I've been enjoying, like Hoya. And I actually started trying plants that have been labeled as difficult plants. And some of them are actually on this list. What list am I talking about? My 2024 favorite houseplants. I narrowed them all down to 10 plants. They're not going to be listed in any particular order because I literally just did a Hoya ranking video of all 48 of my Hoya and my brain is now mush. Let's just keep it simple and let me just show you some plants that I fell in love with and made me happy throughout the whole year. So let's go. The first plant on the list today is a beauty, and literally it's a beauty. My Philodendron Florida beauty. This plant, what can I say? It's a stunner. It's a stunner. I'll put some pictures. When I got her, she wasn't that much bigger than she is now. Well, actually, yes, it's a lot bigger. What am I saying? I think she only had a few leaves, maybe 3 or 4 leaves, maybe 4 leaves. And I got her from my local nursery. I was shocked when this came in stock. This and the Florida Ghost came in stock at the same time. And for sure, I had to try one and get one. I'm not sure if they've been labeled as difficult plants, but I remember that I was really nervous about getting one because I didn't think that I could care for it. And I thought it would have reverted easily. My worries were in vain. If just in the viewfinder, this plant just is so stunning. I'm absolutely in love with this plant. Obviously, it's on this list. The variegation is stunning. The leaves, I just love how it can give these striking leaves. Half and half variegated, half all green. Just beautiful. And every leaf looks a little bit different than the one before it. Again, all depending on how much light you give it. It also has these bright petioles. In this lighting, you can see it a little bit better. Look at how bright the petiole looks here. I love the fuzzy, not fuzzy, but it's a little bit greater-like. There's a little bit of texture to it. And there's not a whole lot to say. It's actually quite easy. I don't know why I thought this plant was difficult. And for a second there, I thought I was giving it way too much light. So I backed it up a little bit from the light source because look at this. I mean, look at this leaf. Stunning. And so then I got this leaf. I love the marbled look. And then I backed it up a little bit more and then I got more of a green leaf. So I've decided to sort of put it back into the kind of light that it once had before, just to make sure that we're still always promoting the gorgeous variegation. There's not much to say. It lives in Molly's Arid Potting Mix. I love this stuff because I use it for all my plants that I feel might be a little bit sensitive or plants that I'm not quite sure how to care for. And when I got this, I definitely didn't want to mess it up. It's not the cheapest plant you'll ever buy, especially for the size. So I definitely didn't want to mess it up. And it's also hard to replace if I lost it because my nursery doesn't have a whole bunch of it. So anyways, the melting of the leaves, this is the only time I've ever experienced any melting of the leaves. And that's this leaf here. And I think it was because I had it too close to the humidifier. So I actually think this was too much high humidity and it melted that leaf. But apart from that, no melting of leaves. I have it in a self-watering pot that I need to clean and refill. Yes, this is how my pots look sometimes. The plant is a stunner. It's a stunner. 10 out of 10. Really easy, gorgeous. I'm happy with this one. The next plant on the list is one that got the reputation of, that has, I should say, the reputation of being a difficult plant. And I did so much research before getting it because I was very nervous that I would mess it up. But surprisingly, we're doing really well so far. That plant is this one. This is my Philodendron verrucosum. This is my first philodendron that I've ever purchased or that I own. That is, how do I put it? When I first saw these plants online, they just reminded me of anthurium. So I call them anthurium-like philodendron because when I think of philodendron, I think of your typical, maybe the pink princess, the silver sword, those kinds of plants are what I think of. Even the squamiferum, that's what I think of when I think of philodendron. So this was the first philodendron that I got that has sort of that very unique look. Like what else is there for me to say? It is a stunner. It's beautiful. I'm so glad I got it and I didn't let my fear of difficult plants get to me. Beautiful. I have it growing here in um, leca at the bottom with sphagnum moss at the top. And it's not cute. The setup isn't cute. I probably should put it in a cover pot. And I have it here on a moss. Oh, the moss pole is rooted. Oh my goodness, I didn't think it actually rooted, but it did. Okay, can you see this? Can you see the roots in the moss pole? Oh my goodness, this moss pole stuff works. This is not my first moss pole, but like my first moss pole. It's like, I don't know what to say. I just didn't think it would actually work. Right, what was I saying? When I got it, I think it had 3 or 4 leaves. It did not have a lot of leaves on it. And I think this leaf here, this one here, was the first one to grow in my care. And like from here onward. And it has been, I'm trying not to drop it, it has been sizing up beautifully for me. I actually want to propagate it. I want to cut it because I would love this to be a fuller pot, but also because like it's sort of like it's like, where do I go next? Where do I go now? I know I need to continue filling up this moss pole and extend it. I know I need to do that. I know. I just I didn't think that there were roots in there. I didn't think that was actually working. And B, I'm just lazy. But this is going to come up. I'm going to do this in my next plant chores video. Wow. I'm pleasantly surprised. But anyway, this is the newest leaf that just unfurled maybe today or yesterday. And the neon veins in the leaves. This plant, it is a work of art. Look at the fuzzy petioles. It's so soft, never given me an ounce of trouble. No pests, spider mites, nothing. Although I do treat my plants very regularly to guard against any possible infestation. And so far, so good. But I love this sweetheart. It's a beauty. If you're thinking of getting this plant, don't be scared. Don't be scared. And I don't give it any special humidity, nothing special, nothing special. It just sits in a corner. You can see, I'll show you right over here. I actually think I have a video of me cleaning up this corner that should be out by now. Right over there. There it is. See? Right in the corner. I'm excited. Wow. I was coming to show you the plant, but instead I discovered. That's exciting. The next plant on the list is one that I was obsessed with. I was determined to get this plant and I waited until I think my nursery had a sale and then I got it. And it was a plant that I was in love with at the beginning of the year. And then sort of, it didn't fade, but you know, I fell in love with other plants, but I'm not forgetting about it. And that's this one. My Philodendron Jose Buono. Do you recall just how excited I was when I got this plant? Do you recall? I was so thrilled, over the moon when I got this plant because it's a stunner. I have so many pictures that I can share with you of how beautiful the leaves come out. So when you get new leaves on this plant, they come out very almost white sometimes. And then they fade into this very minty color this minty green color. And it's actually quite a fast grower. And I think because it fades down into this greenish minty color, that's what helps the plant to keep growing quickly versus just remaining the bright variegated color. But this plant is such an easy plant. I do have some floppy leaves on the side. Where are they? There we go. I do have a sad floppy leaf. So it's not all perfect here. And that is because I actually chopped that vine, the top part, and I just stuck it back in here. And we were doing great, but I didn't keep up with the watering. And so this one got a little floppy. But other than that, it actually has continued to push out new growth from the new branch that I had put in, not the new branch, but the new plant that I put in here. Let's see. It had a new leaf that continued to unfurl. I believe it was this one. It continued to unfurl. Beautiful little thing. And the top plant, try not to drop this here, but the top plant has started pushing out. You can clearly see new growth points here. So one and then two. I think you could see them here, but a very easy plant, very satisfying, gorgeous to look at, and easygoing. Absolutely love this plant. 10 out of 10. No pests so far on it. It's beautiful. I just really love the variegation and the way it can beautifully fade into this nice minty color. But keep it hydrated. This is the first time, those little dehydrated leaves there, that's the first time that has ever happened to me, because I have actually severely underwatered this plant many times, but I do think it's just because I just chopped it and put it in there and then didn't keep it too hydrated. It was fine at first and then it started, doing that a few days ago. Apart from that, easy peasy, 10 out of 10. I recommend this plant. I love this plant. I still am in love with it. And I look forward to it continuing to grow nicely for me. So it lives right here in the corner. I've had it here for a little while. And I also think that's what led to sort of the decline of that leaf, because it wasn't getting enough light. But I did a recent refresh of this little area and I've got now a grow light pointing at it. So hopefully this would make a difference, considering that I just did that refresh today. I do see it eventually getting so big and outgrowing my space, but I think I will always keep at least a small version of this plant in my collection. It is super special. All right, the next plant on the list is one that if you've been here a while, it will not be a shock to you whatsoever. You were probably just wondering, when is Stephanie going to talk about this plant? Actually, let's leave that one for last. The next one on the list instead is another wish list plant. I've noticed that this list has a lot of plants that were on my wish list and I got them. I wasn't disappointed by them at all. You already know it's my Manjula pothos. I love this sweetheart. Love, love, love. If there is hype about this plant, which I think there is, it is all that it has been hyped up to be. I really do need to water this moss bowl. It is a stunner. Beautiful, big, full leaves. It's a very thirsty plant. I've underwatered it miserably. So it, it could use a little bit more love. But outside of that, this plant is a stunner. A stunner. It is easy, just like your regular pothos. It still has the easy pothos reputation. It's a great grower. It's really fast because I put it in this pot not too long ago and it's already starting to pop out of the bottom here. It's busting at the seams once again. I put this moss pole on and I didn't even take a look at it, but yet it has not filled in, but it has started pushing roots into the moss pole here. Let's see if you can see. And it's a happy camper. It's very true to the variegation. It keeps the variegation nicely. One of my vines, I bought it with two vines. So one of them started pushing out a little bit of a greenish, more green to it. So I chopped that and gave it to my mom. Yes, it started pushing out some more growth on the vine right around here. There's the new growth, the new bit coming out right here. Yeah, it looks like it'll actually have some more variegation. So that was good. But apart from that, it has the most beautiful creamy look to the variegation that doesn't melt off. For the most part, also, it's very stable once you give it lots of light. Pothos is really good about keeping its variegation. And it's everything. It's everything. Beautiful variegation, unique leaves. I also love the sort of deformed, almost like you took a piece of paper and you crumbled it up and then you try to open it back out and flatten it again. That's what these leaves look like. I love the uniqueness about it. It almost adds sort of not a texture, but it adds some variety to your collection. When you look at it and you have mostly these smooth leaves, it is still smooth, but because of the waviness and the inconsistency in the leaf, it actually just creates a little bit of more interest in my space when I look around, and love it. All of these plants, if I lost them, I definitely would get another one and repurchase it. I hope to get some of these really tall, nice big ones on a moss pole. But it's also a plant, if it ever got too big, I don't mind just keeping a small version of it. I have it in my DIY aeroid mix. I actually think in this mix has a little bit of soil in it because I had a feeling it was going to be thirsty, because pothos tend to be very thirsty plants. So I put a little bit of soil in there to sort of retain water, but it's still growing way faster than I can water it. Ideally, I wanted it in a self-watering pot, but I didn't have one at the time when I was potting it up of this size. So if you have one of these, I definitely recommend putting it in a self-watering pot, or be ready. Like if I watered this twice a week, it would gladly take the watering twice a week. But I water it just once a week because my saucer is really small and it makes a mess. And it would probably grow way too quickly. I mean, just enjoying the ride of the growing process. But I absolutely adore it. I adore it. I want to call it Bertha, but I feel like Bertha is not quite the name that captures it. You tell me. Right here, you've seen this sweetheart before. This is my Monstera Thai constellation. This plant doesn't disappoint. I'm sure it's going to be in a lot of favorite videos. This plant, for such a highly variegated plant, it is so easy. It's super easy going. I've messed up this plant, messed up the care. I have videos of my mistakes with this plant and how I fixed it. It did lose a few leaves, so this is a little bit of an update. It has lost a few of the lower leaves since then, but thankfully those lower leaves, they weren't highly variegated and they weren't as beautiful as these bigger leaves here. This plant is a stunner. The beautiful speckled variegation, very much so like a constellation. I can see, it looks like stars, or like you took a wet paintbrush and you just splattered paint all over it. I just love how some of it can also have sectoral variegation. Give it high amounts of light and it will, if you have a good specimen, give you that really nice sectoral variegation. It's adjusting to my new care in my new substrate. And I know it's a very thirsty plant and it wants to be watered way more than I actually water it. But I'm very wary of root rot, since before I had it in self-watering and now I'm manually watering it myself. So I'm very aware and conscious of not overwatering it. Let's take it out of this cover pot. It's got beautiful, don't make a mess. Try not to make a mess on the floor. But it's got beautiful white healthy roots. Let's see, can I pull it up really quick? Big white healthy roots here. This thing is a rooting machine. This plant will push out roots like crazy. And that's what I don't like about it a little bit, because then, you know, it's just, you have to constantly repot it. This is, since I've put all these plants on moss bowls, I have never looked back. I have never looked back at at the poles here, and they did root. I actually did not think it would root, but it did. It has rooted. You can see a little bit of those white bits in here. Very nice. Okay, it's looking good. I am very worried because I don't water it, the moss poles, as often as I should, and the moss poles can get rot. The roots in there can be rotted, just like how you know, a regular roots in the pot can be rotted when you water it inconsistently. But anyways, that's it. The Monstera Thai constellation. I love this. It's now becoming way more popular and easier to find. You can find it sometimes for $12 in some stores, like in supermarkets and stuff like that, which is nice. I'm glad that more people can now enjoy this beautiful plant and enjoy a lovely one in their collection. So if you have one, have fun with it. And because it's a great plant, just don't overwater it. You might be saying,
wow, this girl loves her variegation.
and I sure do. But let me just break it up a little bit for you. Let's go in with another favorite, a surprising one, and it's a small one. And that's my Alocasia black velvet. Yes, they're going to be in tiny pots, and there's a story for that. So when I was making this plant shelf, the one behind me, if you've been following me a while, you already know that. But if you're new, hi, I'm Stephanie. Welcome. Happy to have you here. When I was building the shelves behind me, I didn't put those sticky little things that you're supposed to put so that the glass doesn't slip. And the glass slipped and fell on top of this plant. So this is my main plant that I purchased this, I think, for $3 in January of this year. And it grew beautifully for me. It did so well, and when it slipped on it and fell, I lost a bunch of leaves. But you know what? It's still going to land in this list because it got damaged. It's not its fault. It's still a beautiful, easy to care for, resilient plant, and it deserves all the love. And I love the black velvet. I love it because of the veins and just those velvety leaves, the texture of the leaves, and how bright and neon the leaves can look when the light hits it just right, especially if they're newer leaves. And yes, I do have more than one because this was such a mature plant when I got it. I got over 10 corms. Over 10 corms when I got it. So I gave some to my mom and I can't remember what I did with the rest. So I have a bunch of them growing in random places. They're even growing like with other plants. They're growing happily in other places. But this is a plant that I always want to have at least one of because I love it. And I didn't have the heart to toss the corms, and I'm very happy with it. It's one of the few plants that I will allow myself to keep duplicates of because I have a duplicates rule. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, check out that video. I'll link it for you. But yes, I will say about this plant, it does prefer what's it called? No drainage over, I don't know what I'm doing here. A self-watering pot with leca and pon. It just doesn't work. Maybe with pon it's a little bit better, but with leca, I need to repot this soon. So another repotting job that needs to be done. So subscribe if you like repotting videos because one's coming your way soon. And yes, I do have space in my heart for regular green, beautiful plants. The next plant on the list is one that was on my wish list. I really wanted a good version of this one. You know, the Philodendron Pink Princess is the only one in that family that I love and will tolerate. And you already know which plant I'm talking about because it's the best of all of them. And that is the Philodendron White Wizard. This plant is a stunner. It's so well behaved. I know mine is long and I actually don't like having just long singular vines like this, and I've wanted to chop it for a long time. But this plant, this one and the verrucosum are the two plants that I allow to grow on just one singular skinny vine because it's not my style. But this plant, so well behaved, so forgiving. It can be a fast grower. I think it is a fast grower. I will dare say it's a fast grower. It pushes out leaves pretty quickly. My leaves are a bit beat up, not gonna lie, because I sort of moved it around a lot in my plant room as I was trying to figure out the perfect space for it, because it is a little bit awkward with this singular vine. But anyways, it's such a great grower. And let's talk about this newest leaf. This newest leaf, for some reason, is just huge. And I think it's because the bottom leaves, they were getting super highlight. Look at that variegation. They were getting really highlight. This was done in a south-facing window. And for a while, for a couple of weeks, the blinds were closed and we got this leaf, still a stunner. And then I reopened them more regularly. We got this. Then we got, whoops, 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 whoops. Then we got this. I mean, come on. Come on. The plant just shows off. And then again, it went to a spot where it got a little bit of less light. And then it gave me this big leaf. Usually I'm all about variegation, but this guy, the size, it's just a beautiful size. Beautiful. And then the newest leaf is this bad boy here. The plant is just a stunner. A stunner, beautiful. And I have another little baby plant in here coming along. And I really need to chop it and just stick it back in. I know it'll be fine. And you know what? I think I was just waiting to show this plant to you, beautiful and perfect in one, long vine. And then I'm going to chop it because you never know. Once you chop and prop, you never know what's going to happen. But after this, I'm going to chop it and stick it in here and see what happens. No, not going to put it in water, any of that. Philodendron are so easy to propagate, at least this kind. So I'm just going to chop it maybe 2 times and stick it back in here. But it's a beautiful little thing. I love it. So easy, pretty fast growing. I love those, trunky, you know, vines. It's a great plant. It makes me happy. It's a great one. And that's the Philodendron White Wizard. Although I just had a Hoya collection ranking video, this video of my favorite houseplants of 2024 would be so incomplete without some Hoya. You know I love me some Hoya. So let me show you 2 of my favorite Hoya for the year. Okay, this is the last time you're gonna see the plant for this year. So just take it in and let it go. And forgive me. I know I've talked about this plant a lot on my channel. I know. I hear you. Not again, Stephanie. I'm sorry, but when we talk about favorites, I just do not feel truthful if I don't include this plant. I just had to. I just had to. This is the Hoya latifolia Sarawak. Probably one of the easiest, most satisfying Hoya you will ever come across. Super easy. I've said this before. I have never lost a mature leaf on this plant. Baby leaves coming out, maybe, yes, I've lost a couple. So you'll see right here. Right here. See? There's nothing there. See, it's not perfect. It's not perfect. It might be perfect. No, it's not perfect. It's a great grower, resilient, thirsty, but a great plant. It's a sun lover. It just loves basking in sun. I give it direct sunlight. It lived in my south facing window. Now it's under my grow lights because I was afraid the draft from the window would be too much for it and would damage the leaves. But the thing is a stunner. It's also called the dinner plate Hoya because the leaves can be so big. Like this is it next to my head. And I've got a big head, got a very big head. And so, yeah, these are the latest leaves. And I want to say the leaves never really harden off. I want to say that, when you're growing plants and leaves stay soft and you're like, oh, this leaf is still growing. But okay, this one is pretty firm, but the really, really large ones, they never, oh, this one's pretty firm. This one's like, yeah, it's firmer than these ones. See, this one's still pretty soft. So this one could still be growing or hardening off. So in essence, I'm trying to say that the leaves do take a little while to harden off, or maybe they might never, some of them. But anyways, it's a beautiful plant. Easy. I do think it's pretty fast because I got this, I think in February or March. This is all it's done, like all of these leaves. And when I got it with 2 leaves. So I've got like
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13,
14 leaves since March. And for like a plant that grows such huge leaves. 10 out of 10. Love this plant. Roots growing in the reservoir. Thirsty little thing, but it's a happy little thing. Lots of light and it'll do you good. This is a good one. Hoya latifolia Sarawak. And since we're talking about Hoya, I have to mention this one, okay? We're talking about my favorites. Number 1, most difficult Hoya I ever had at one point in time. A new Hoya has taken that trophy. And if you want to know, again, watch my hard Hoya video or my Hoya collection video, and you'll know what I'm talking about. But the one that brings me the most joy, because we started from the bottom. This is where we are now. And this is how beautiful she looks right now. This is my Hoya Hushkiliana inner variegated. Spoke about this recently, spoken about this many times. I think it's my favorite, not just because it's beautiful, but like I mentioned, because of what it means, because of what I've accomplished, what I've learned. It's taught me so much. I've learned a lot about this plant. I remember when I was struggling, people were like, this is such an easy Hoya. What are you talking about? And maybe for you, maybe for them and their growing conditions and their experience. But this Hoya taught me so much. I learned so much about Hoya, about how to grow Hoya. And honestly, this plant, when it's a baby, it is a little bit of a challenging one. It's hard to root and it rots easily. But self-watering and you're good to go. I have more than one, again, of my favorites. I do keep backups of my favorite plants, especially if they're difficult and especially if they're uncommon. But it's a fast grower now that it's established, and I blast it with light and enjoy some beautiful sun stressing on it. I recommend it. I really do. But if you get it, get a mature version and try not to repot it too much. It hates being repotted. So we have talked about, I've got my list, the verrucosum, Manjula, white wizard, black velvet, Thai constellation, Florida beauty, Jose Buono, Hushkiliana, but there is one more plant that's on this list, and you may have thought the last plant to be mentioned, you may have thought it would have been the Hushkiliana, but it's not. The one I want to show you, that I'm really excited to show you, is this guy. This guy, the Alocasia frydek variegated. I'm sure it is not surprising to you at all that this is the plant that I was referring to. No surprise here. The Alocasia frydek is such a beautiful plant. Absolutely stunning. Like, I don't even have to tell you this because it's pretty obvious that it's a stunning plant. The variegation, the unpredictable variegation, every single leaf is different. Look at this, and how some leaves can be minty while some leaves are white. Some leaves are white. And I've got some completely all white leaves here. Not very good for the plant, but you know, still beautiful to look at. This plant is just a stunner. Yes, she shows a little bit of signs of stress when you repot, when you let her dry out too much, but she has been surprisingly forgiving for how beautiful she is. Pretty forgiving, despite, you know, looking like she could possibly be a diva. You know, one of these things, I've seen people with those little hooks that they sort of hook. It's sort of like a circular thing with lots of hooks, and you can hook all the leaves and keep them together. Yeah, I have seen that around and I need to get one of those. That would be nice. But yeah, this plant is a stunner. Absolutely beautiful. If you've watched my repotting videos, you would have seen when I repotted her recently, and I put her into this vase that she's in now, and I put it in here, and she is doing still wonderfully. Remember when I wasn't sure if I wanted to loosen the roots or not, and I actually got a comment of someone being like, why didn't you loosen the roots? And I didn't, because I wanted to reduce shock on the plant. And surprisingly, it looks like, you can't see it because there's a lot of humidity in here, but it looks like the plant actually started loosening its roots on its own. So it looks like roots that sort of were wrapped around started turning and pointing downwards to get water. It's a thirsty plant. Very shocking. It's quite thirsty, and I I have to keep my eye on it just to make sure that I don't let it dry out for too long, because you know, then you'll get those little yellowing leaves, you know, that you see, the little yellowing on the edges. And I know that alocasia can do that, start bowing. People say, again, when it's too much light or nutrients, I don't know, but I add fertilizer with every single watering. So I'm not quite sure if it's nutrients, but I always say that alocasia are going to keep the leaves until I say time is up. So yeah, that's this guy, a great grower. And I look forward to it becoming even bigger, even fuller, even more mature. Just having it as a great statement piece in my collection. Tell me, what are your favorite houseplants? your favorite ones for the year of 2024. Tell us down below. Thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate the time you took to be here, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye! Thanks again for watching. Here are some videos I think you might enjoy. A big thanks goes out to our channel Patreon members. There's Rachel and Carla in the Diamond Falls tier, Patricia in the Piton tier, and Lynn and Lainey in the Pigeon Island tier.